So this is the kind I just did the competition for fun. You could win some money, so I thought, oh, every student want to win some money. uh, so that was the reason why I started rowing really late when I was 22.
So, when did you start having an idea that you were good enough to compete at a higher level?
I think the first year as a freshman, we won the Freshman's Cup in the Netherlands. And then it was like we had some other rowers at the club who had been to the Olympics, like Rogier Blink and Nanne Sluis, and some other women also were really good. And I was like, oh, maybe let's see if I can become a little bit better. Not Olympics, but just a little bit better. So in 2014, I tried to. I rowed at the Visu,
Yeah.
in Gravelines in the single.
Oh,
But then
yeah,
I was
that
like,
course.
oh, yeah, it's like a windy course,
Yeah.
but I really enjoyed it. And then, yeah, the idea came up for now. Let's give it a try to, yeah, becoming a better athlete.
Oh, that's amazing. So we can take a look at your rowing career and your development through.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to move to this year and just ask you how much has your life changed because of your win in the Olympics?
Um, well, I don't think my life changed a lot,
No.
but more. The biggest change was after we became world champion. It was the year before. Then it changed really in my mind, like, oh, I'm really, really good. And after the Olympics, we had just a lot of parties and fun and uh, holiday.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we have now a longer holiday. That changed a lot. Normally, after 3 weeks, you have to start rowing again, and now we are still in the no, do the things you like, do every sport, go for biking, running, a marathon, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it changed that we are more free, but for me as a person, I did not change after becoming an Olympic champion.
Okay, so tell us what changed after you won your first world title. Maybe you might win another in 2023. What changed
I,
for you then?
I think it really changed becoming aware that I, uh, was really good. Were moments in my life where I thought, okay, I'm good, but I had I was unlucky or I got ill or I was not in the boat who was the fastest boat, and I'm still thinking, yeah, but I'm really good, but I'm not in the A boat. And I think after 2023, I really, also because it was a really tough year in 2023,
Mm,
it became, for me, uh, it changed a lot in my behavior and believing in myself.
yes. Um, and so you would look at other athletes on the Dutch team, and they would be here, and you would be here, and you were still good, but there were athletes that were stronger. So
Yeah,
this was the first time you realised, wow, how good I am, how good I
yeah.
can be.
Yeah, I think sometimes I had a little bit of a Calimero, like I had an eggshell, and everybody is so big and I'm so tiny. But after 2023, I really, yeah, the belief in myself grew a lot. Also because, well, in 2022 I broke my neck, and coming from the accident to world champion in 8 months, I almost had an imposter syndrome. Could not believe it was me.
Um, okay, so that all right. As you've mentioned it, that was obviously a terrible accident, and you had to spend some time in hospital. Can How do you feel talking about it?
Oh, very comfortable.
Okay, so tell us what happened that day.
Uh, so we won two silvers at the World Championships in Rasic, Belgrade,
Hmm.
and it was one of the first time I really felt I could celebrate, go for a holiday because the World Championships went really well. Um, and then now I bike a lot on holiday, but Rogier, my husband, has some gravity issues. He's really heavy, so going up was not his favorite part of the holiday.
Yeah.
So we went mountain biking, and it was like not a big accident. It was really unlucky. I got only a little bit of speed around a bump,
Yeah.
and I tumbled over my bike and came on top of my head. I wear a helmet, but then my first vertebra broke in four pieces,
Whoa.
and also the artery on both sides were a little bit yeah damaged on the
Yes.
inner wall. So, but somebody was biking towards us, which was actually a medic, and also somebody who was biking behind me, which I cannot remember, uh, but was also a medic, and they directly stabilized me in a position because they know this kind of accidents can go really really bad. The only thing for me was that it was really stiff around the neck, and everything was like really hard. But I could move my legs, I could move my arms, I could
Yeah.
talk. So there were nobody was really worried, and I had to I was like, oh, I'm fine, and they said, yeah, we call a helicopter. I was like, no, don't no, not so, that's too expensive. And so they called an ambulance, and I got to the hospital, the like really Zell am Zee, really tiny hospital, and they made the picture, and the doctor was coming towards my bed, and I already saw his face, and I was like, okay, my parents work in the hospital as well. I know this kind of face,
Yeah.
and he was like, it's really really bad. You have to go to the other hospital. Yeah, your vertebra is in four pieces, and how about organ donation? And I was like, okay,
What?
this went way too fast. I was like,
No, he.
whoa. And so, but it also made really clear how bad the situation was. Um, so I went by helicopter, which I could not see anything because they put me in this like bag with all the
Yeah.
protection to the other hospital. And there was a surgeon who said, okay, we're going to fix it. And I asked, how many times did you do this surgery? And then he said, oh, never. And I was like,
Oh.
okay, that's not something you want to hear. It's really honest. But I was like, oh, okay. And then the next day, they told me, yeah, your surgeon has COVID. He's not showing up. We fly somebody in from London who already did this surgery multiple times. So there are in this story a
Yeah.
little. Sometimes I got really lucky. So with the medic who was coming towards biking me, put me in the in the
Yeah.
right position, and also this surgeon who already did this
Yeah.
kind of surgery multiple times. So they did the surgery, and under in this time also my parents drove from the Netherlands as fast as they can to Salzburg. And then I went on. They did the surgery with the pins, and they did not attach it to my head. So that's the only reason I can still row. I can move my head a lot, but I cannot turn it. So I have to move my whole body still.
Yeah.
um, so when I woke up, I knew okay, it went really well, but I had a lot of problems with holding my head on top of my body. It felt like you have this dashboard in the car, this
Yeah.
dashboard dog, which is moving his head
Oh,
when you
yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was me.
Wow.
My head didn't feel connected to the body, so it took almost 10 days to learn to walk again because I couldn't sit up straight, could not walk. It was really tough. And then there were some different advices. So some doctors they were saying, "Oh, you can walk tomorrow, and next week you can go home and rowing, no problem."
Yeah.
There were doctors who were saying, "Oh no, I think you are never able to again to go for a row." And
Yeah.
So there were so many advices, and the only thing I had was I'm laying in bed, doing my breathing exercises, and could not move and could not eat. I was like, how on earth do I go from doing breathing exercises to rowing?
Yeah.
So and I was in Salzburg, and after a couple of days, some of the doctors came by and they said, "Oh, how are you doing?" And I said, "No, I'm sleeping really bad because I'm, yeah, overthinking all the time,
Yeah.
everything." And they took it really seriously. So within an hour, I had some psychologist
Yeah. Yeah.
on my bed talking about, okay, you have post-traumatic stress and blah blah blah, but you can also have post-traumatic growth. And how can you make from a bad uh, thing a good thing, and
Yes.
try to be positive, uh, make little steps, see what you can do, um, and then I started like, okay, I can breathe 25 times this little ball. Let's see if I can do it every 15 minutes instead of 2 times a day.
Yeah.
And and so every time I got a little bit better, uh, although my situation was really really bad. Uh, it was easier to stay positive when people say, or Rogier, when he every day he visited and saw me becoming a little bit better, so from
Yeah.
really shit and could not move
Yeah.
my head, uh, with eating for myself or toothbrushing, which is difficult if you break your neck because it's move your head,
Oh my God.
and all these little steps adding up, uh, yeah, was easier to stay positive because we compared with the day before or the days before. Uh, and in the end, after 2.5 weeks, I was allowed to go home for rehab, uh, which I could do in a center. But my
Yeah.
parents work in the hospital, and they said, "Okay, we will take care of you. We'll learn you how to walk, how to uh, bike again, and do everything. But we do not rehab you as a sport person. You are a person who, yeah, need to improve daily
Yeah.
life."
Yeah.
And for me, that helped really because they put down the pressure of becoming a rower again. But meanwhile, I really in my head I was like, oh, let's see if I can
Yeah.
walk a little bit further and see if I can bike for 30 seconds instead of 20 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh, but they continuously were saying, okay, you are here to become a normal person doing daily life stuff. And they took 3 weeks to, yeah, learn me how to take care of myself, take a shower or whatever. Uh, and so after 6 weeks of the accident, I went home, and then I was like, okay, let's see how I can become a rower again.
No.
I called Ilko, and knowing that in December the national training camp would be there, and he has one rule: he never ever takes somebody with him who got injured. Because
You're
when you are
kidding.
injured, you are not allowed to go on training camp because what are you going to do in training camp? Not
Yeah.
rowing. So, but I was like, oh, I hope, and I asked if can I go, and he already said yes.
Oh.
I was like, oh, uh, but I was really happy. I could be in the environment of,
Yeah.
well, top sport of the, and then in the end it went really really fast because I only had this easy goal of only sport and taking care of my body.
Yeah.
Uh, so when it was March, it was in Pier de Luco. I raced my first race. We did okay. It was not really a good race, but I was so delighted, so happy that after like 5 months and a broken neck and some pins, I got back in the boat. I almost felt like what I was saying earlier, like an imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, I it was not that worse, but it was really really worse.
Um.
So and then winning at the Europeans, the bronze medal, a lot of
Yeah.
my family were there and they could not stop crying, so happy. Where they
Oh.
because they yeah it was so big, yeah, full of a lot of emotions. And then I believed, okay, if I can be if I can win bronze after a couple of months, okay, put on the gas. Let's see
Yeah.
how we can perform on the World Championships. And then we won the gold at the World Championship. But uh, that time in between the Europeans and the World Championships really was like, okay, if this is bronze with this, then every month we train a little bit more, we can become better. So for me and for us as a crew, the bronze medal was like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if with this preparation we can win bronze, and that is the kind of post-traumatic growth that yeah we
Yeah.
I had this like really bad accident, but what is the positive thing? Well, winning bronze with this. Let's see how we can perform a little bit better.
So it sounds miraculous.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like somebody else. It sounds like uh, I know I have a lot of discipline. It's something I have as a child because I did swimming when I was really young. So for me, it's really easy to do every day the exercises, show up and the training, do training, have some good food, and go home. But I will not. If I have to do it again, I don't know if I want to.
Yeah. So in in the World Championship year, no, actually, what I was going to ask you was, you said about you have to turn your whole body round. So when you are in a single and you're looking to steer or looking round, or maybe when you're steering a boat, how does that work?
Well, in Pied de Luco, we tried me at not bow seat, but it didn't really work out. So I stay on bow, and Hermijntje, who's sitting in front of me, got the job of looking around. So that gave
Ah,
a lot of time. We had fun of it, that people are shouting my name, and then Hermijntje is turning around, and I'm not reacting. So they shout a little bit more, and
yeah,
then we have some laugh in the boat because yeah, we know that Hermijntje is looking, and when my name is called, yeah she always react. But yeah, in a single is a problem. So I cannot train on the Amstel with the others. I train at the Bosbaan,
yeah,
which is safe. You go up in lane 0 and go back in lane 7. So you're just making rounds. But yeah, when we have trainings like 28 or 32K in the single, it's a little bit boring. But yeah, I still can row, so I'm really happy I'm alive. I can row, I can do what I want. If this is the disadvantages of my uh, yeah of my rowing career, now I'm not complaining because I still can row. But yeah, steering or looking around is not an option. Yeah, I have to
yeah.
stop and then turn around with whole the body, then I can see. But no, when I'm rowing in a pair, for example, the one who's with me in the boat has to watch for the course.
Okay. So I'm gonna just come to the Olympic season, and then I want to go back and look at how the four got put together and things like
Yeah,
that. But in the Olympic season, the British were much faster than you in the first World Cup in Varese,
yeah,
and then you closed the gap in the second World Cup at Lucerne, and they were the only times you raced. So
yeah,
I thought the British would win,
yeah.
but I know Rohir was like he was confident. And so, how did you deal with losing to the British on those two occasions? And
I think losing was not really. I think it was. I I found it more. How do you say tough that I lose from the second British, not from the
oh,
first.
Yeah, embarrassing.
But yeah, but we know that this training schedule made us really, really good in the last race. And so also the years before in 2022 and 2023, we are not really, really good earlier in the
Yeah,
season. We need a lot of training, and especially on altitude. It's making a really big difference for the four of us.
really.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's a 4 second gap.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
and so most of the time when we are have a good race, we got some confidence. Like, okay, with the training, we know how much we can improve, and also with some technical things. And since we are in the winter, a lot of time in the single, the when the season is starting, like World Cup One, and after World Cup One, we really start rowing in the four. So that you make a lot of more strokes together after World Cup One and before World Cup One. Well, in 2022, we were only 2 weeks together in the four
Crazy.
for World Cup One because we were in the single or in the pair, but not in the four. So the training schedule was really made to be good in the end. And we do not row a lot together earlier in the season. So yeah, it's painful to win by such a big gap, uh, and especially in Varese where the course was really fast, and I like fast rowing, like fast climbs. I really had hoped we could break the world record this year, but well,
Yeah, 6:14.
yeah, yeah, but well, Paris was not really
Fast course.
for us was not a fast course that day. Uh, so yeah, we know working together a lot more after World Cup One give us some confidence if it's not too big. If it's not like 8 seconds, then we know it's a problem. But this gap, well, if we can take every time between Varese and Luzern, we already took some. We got
Yes.
close, so we know, okay, going
So,
okay.
because this was Paris was your first Olympics, so
Yeah.
your selection at 35 or 36 for your first Olympics. So I'm wondering how important was it, your selection for the Olympics, or was that just, well, actually, we're world champions, we want to win the gold medal, so maybe the selection wasn't that important.
No, the selection was not really important between world champion and Olympics because most of the time when you win gold at a world champion, they say, okay, you are good enough to stay together. So we did have selections, and they went okay. Uh, so I did not have really stress if I would be in the boat. But the only talk we had as a crew was like, okay, it will be the first Olympics for the four of us.
Yeah.
We do not go for experience. It will be the first, but we go for, and we had this talk for an hour. It was one of the teams. Uh, uh, One of the talks we had together. There were multiple subjects, and this was one of them. Olympics. Okay, we do not go for experience. We go for the best race we can, which is hopefully a medal.
Okay, so you wanted a medal. It wasn't like we're going to win.
Now, for me, there are some in the team who said only gold. For me, it was just I want a good race.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm too scared to say I want to win the gold.
Yes, I understand. Um, so for the final, you were obviously moving fast, and for the final, I don't think you and the British had not raced because you qualified through
Yeah,
different sides of the draw.
yeah.
So, what do you remember about your preparations for that final? What was Freck, the coach, saying, and what was the plans for the race?
Well, we did some trainings with some little pieces before the final, and one of the pieces we thought went really shit, but it went really fast. So Dennis Freek is always a little bit, and Dion, they are working together. So Freek is
Yeah.
coaching, and Dion is the scientist. and then you see this smile, and we were like, yeah, but it felt like really bad. And then we
Yeah.
say, yeah, but you went 126. I mean, if
Wow.
you go 130,
Yeah.
it's way too fast. And then some people in the boat are really like happy, and I'm like, oh, it's too fast. We cannot hold the
Maintain.
speed. So
Yeah.
I don't have panic, but there are a lot of emotions, and Freek is not saying much, but the only thing he's like saying is just, okay, stay in control. This is good. Just keep doing this. And then, well, we are a little bit autodidact.
Mm-hmm.
So then we just take one or two things we think are really important, technical things, put down the legs or something else. Um, and then we went home, but went back to the hotel. But every time the training was like uh, the day before the competition went most of the time really good.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, okay, it gave a lot of confidence. Okay, if we do this tomorrow, it's good.
Mm.
And I think that's one of the things for us as a crew is really special, that at the moment we have to be good. It's good, but sometimes it's also a disadvantage because we have also a lot of really bad trainings, like really bad, like
Ah.
riggers down the going through the water, or
No.
so there is this big difference. But if we focus with the four of us on, well, the moment we have to be really good, then it's good. And well, the day before the finals, the training was like it, yeah, it was there and it was spot on.
Um. So I think the day before your final was that when the British and Dutch quads raced, and the Dutch quads just missed out on winning because the British
Yeah,
came through on the last stroke. What impact did that have on you?
a really positive impact because we were like, okay, if the British can manage such a sprint to the end, we can do too. Instead of thinking, oh, you can lose the race, but we really used the British as an inspiration,
Mm.
that the race is not over until the finish. And since we were in the hotel with the British people,
Oh yeah.
yeah, so we were sad for the four girls of us for the quad, but for us it was really an inspiration that you never ever give up. And the British, they had a really good race, and we all thought the Dutch would win,
Mm.
but they didn't. And yeah, for us it's made a little extra awareness for our own race, like also in the last 100-meter fight until the finish.
Mm.
uh, so I think, but I'm not sure, if this did not happen,
Mm.
I don't know if he won the gold, because I certainly the last 100 meters thought, no British, no Great Britain, this is not gonna happen again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
put everything in every stroke to, yeah, stay in front of them.
So how good was your race? I mean, how well was the boat moving in that final?
I think the first 1,000 was really, yeah, really good. It was low pressure on the legs, and
Mm.
was really connected. And then there was between 12:15 and 7:50 where Britain came back
Yeah.
at us, and it missed a little bit the, yeah, the momentum in
Mm.
the stroke, but it was still good. Um, and then the last part with sprinting was good again. Then it was just power legs and moving the boat, but it
Because
was
the
not the best race.
No, okay. Because the British actually they came level with you, and at one stage their bows were
Yeah,
in front of you.
yeah.
What were you thinking, or what was going on then?
Well, since we always have this same plan, and the plan has on certain points between like 100-meter, you can do this kind of push or this kind of technique. So they passed us, a little bit before our moment of shine, whatever you call
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Um so we just waited and do the plan, and nobody got uh,
Panicked.
scared because we
Yeah.
knew at 1750 we have this big power push, and at 1300 something, most of the time we have a little bit low leg drive. Um, so since it went really well until that point, yeah, you really felt everybody believed in the plan, and yeah, we didn't react on Great Britain because yeah, we know this plan 70-50 push
Yeah, yeah,
will
yeah.
will make a difference.
Yeah. When did you know you had won? Did you think at some time in the race, just before the finish line, or after you crossed the line?
So most of the times I'm not aware of the result, of thinking about the result. We also had a lot of conversation about your mind during the race, but still at 1,000 I had a little moment where I was like, oh, I'm in front. Then I was like, no, 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 no. It's 1,000. You have to have quick knees.
Yeah, yeah.
So get back to the task and focus. But I have to be honest, at 1,000, I really was like, oh, we are in front. Like we can win gold. But we talked a lot about this, what your mind is doing. And so these talks really helped me to immediately get back in the zone and okay, we are now here, so we have to do, I don't know, A, B, C, or D. Um, and when we crossed the finish line, I was pretty sure we won the gold,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to celebrate because I was like, yeah, but maybe we lost and I did not see it. So I had the
Ah.
feeling we won, but I'm waiting a moment, and then Hermijntje is saying and pointing at the screen,
Yeah.
like, oh, and then I was, oh, okay, it's so I had the feeling we won, but I was a little bit, we are waiting before I could celebrate. Otherwise, you get this stupid action, what you also have in cycling, that people do this but are
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, what are your memories now of the medal ceremony and what you did later that day, the at Dutch House? What?
Yeah, I can remember everything. I also collapsed after the you have to change your clothes.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but we all has this like really hot sweatpants,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so I was yeah a little bit exhausted and dehydrated. So when I came out of the tent, I already collapsed, and
Oh
so
no,
somebody were like, "No, no, get up!" But it was really, really hot. Um, and then we went to the to the pontoon, and a lot of my hometown club were there too.
oh
So it
wow,
was just so cool that in Paris, like 1/5 of the tickets were from Dutch people.
that's
So this was like
crazy.
orange crowded,
Yeah,
yeah, uh, people and or everywhere were just Dutch people or family or friends. So I think for me it was really special that so many friends were there because it was so close. It's like a 4 hour driving. Uh, and that made it like, yeah, really even more a special moment. And then afterwards, yeah, it's just normal. You go back to the hotel, and then it starts again. So you're going to the Team NL house and have a big celebration with thousands of people. Uh, yeah, it's insane.
yeah. How did Rohir cope doing the commentary on your race?
So in 2023, he's doing a lot of the time the commentary for the Dutch television. And in 2023, he did my race at 1750. He was like a little bit sniffing because he had
Yeah.
some tears. And in the end, they muted him from
Oh,
the 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 from the Dutch television because
Yeah.
he was crying. So after a couple of minutes, he could talk again, and he was unmuted and doing his normal.
Yeah.
So for Paris, he was like, "Okay, I'm not gonna cry again. I don't want to be muted." So um, he was really prepared for it, but he was so nervous that during the race he pronounced my name like totally different. So so it was like Marloes Oldnburg. He was like, but for him, yeah, it was like he was allowed to go hug me after the finish. Yeah, and
Oh, he was there.
he was there. He was on the pers
Yeah.
side, so yeah, he was there commentating my race. Um, so it was like for him, like, oh, it was really special. So every time when I'm watching the race back, I hear his voice, and yeah, for me, it's really cool to hear his voice. And he make a lot of jokes people don't know. So he said one time, "Yeah, I did talk to some of the girls last week." I was like, "We chatted 5 minutes ago," but yeah, for him, yeah, it was really cool to be there so close and yeah, talk
Yeah.
about my race.
That you talking about the orange and the Dutch celebration, it just reminded me of when Melvin Tweller won the European Championships
Yeah,
in at Munich, and
yeah,
you were straight in the water, weren't you, to swim out?
yeah. I thought I had my own medal ceremony, but I think yeah, if you become European champion in the single, well, the medal will come for the eighth. I will swim to Melvin to congratulate him. It's really something we do in the Netherlands, swimming towards somebody.
Yeah,
But yeah, since the FISA set this new rule that if you swim to somebody, he will or she will get disqualified. Yeah, I will not swim to Caroline because it's her gold, and if we
yeah,
swim,
yeah, yeah.
so that's the reason why we do not swim anymore. But I think yeah, if somebody wins a medal in such a special event as the single, yeah, you have to swim and celebrate, right? That's something you do.
Yeah, I love that. I love it as part of the sport, and yeah, it's a shame that it's been stopped in that way. Um, how did your four get put together? Like, why you four?
Well, after Tokyo, we all have been in a single, women and men. We trained together. That was the first thing we did. Since before, we did not train ever together. The men did their program, the women did their program. We meet at some world or European championships on the
Yeah,
course, and they went to their own hotel. So after 21, we put together, and everybody was in the single. So the play field was even. You could not hide. There was the RP3 and the single, and we did selection trial. And Caroline went really, really well on the
yeah,
single. And then were we with some others. We had around the same speed, and then we were put together in pairs. And in the end, we were put together in the four, and we did race in the pair in Belgrade and in the eight. We always did 2022 both. We
yeah,
did the eight and your main event, and we were put together in the four for the World Cup 2 in Poznan, and it just clicked.
yeah.
Like, but not during training, during the race.
Oh, right.
So during training, we were like, "Oh, is this good enough?" And sometimes we had some speed, but it was really unpredictable. Uh, and then in the race, it just clicked, and we were in front with Australia, but like way in front of the other countries.
Yeah.
Uh, I think we had a little bit of disadvantage with the wind, so we had some steering issues, and but yeah, it went really well. We won the silver, and it was like, oh, okay, 2 weeks training together, silver. Well, let's see what we can make of
Yeah.
it.
How does it work? Because Hermione Drenth, who rose in front of you, she is extremely tall.
194. Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy. And you are, what are you,
step
170,
2
172?
and a half.
So how does that work? Do you have the same measurement on the
No,
riggers?
no, of course not.
Ah,
So you have to make some changes. Carrying the boat, yeah, that is it's, it's not possible. So I carry the oars, and with the three of them, they do the boat. So you
yeah,
never see me carrying a boat because, well, it's like I have to hang on it to hold it. But also, yeah, the gearing. You have to change the seat of the feet, and I have the inner oar length is a little bit shorter, so I can make the same, yeah, range of motion. So the
yeah,
angle in the front, we do use a lot of that's Dion his job,
yeah.
uh, and Freek too. But with the numbers, with power, peach.
Yes, peach telemetry.
Yeah, seeing where, okay, where do I have to put my feet, and is my oar and span a little bit smaller to get the same range of motion, um, because you can also do a little bit more backswing, but then
Ah,
but if you do, then you have difficulties being together. So
mm,
I try to have the same technique, but just change the boat. So the rigger was a little bit smaller, and
yeah.
the oar was a little bit different. And my feet are way more in front than I would be when I row with somebody who's 172 as well.
Okay. So, do you understand why you, with your height, are as good as you are in relation to these extremely tall, powerful women? And there's you. What is it that you think that makes you such a great oarswoman?
I think they can become better if they are really really good because they are so tall. But for me, I think also from the swimming, you have like it's uh, I'm really strong. So I'm not powerful. So there were Hermijntje is like one of the strongest girls there is.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't want to sprint with her, but if you have to do a 6K, you have to take me. So
Oh,
I think
wow.
um, this combination works really well. That I'm really have a big engine where I can put a lot of energy, but I don't have a lot of peak energy, and I think that is maybe is my talent that I can do a lot, uh, training a lot, and also racing really fast. But the end you need somebody else. You need Tinka en Hermijntje.
Yeah, yeah. And what about your mindset in terms of did you have something special as a child, or was this something that developed
I think
later?
the resilience. A lot of people think I got a resilience after my accident, which
Mm.
in in a certain sense it helped. It made me a lot more loose. Think, oh, it will be fine. We just focus on this and ignore everything else. It helped. But what most people forgot is that in 2016 at the Olympic qualification, I was there too, and I missed the qualification with Lisa Scheenaert in the double. And in 2020, I was in the pair and was not good enough. And in 2021, I was in the eighth and didn't qualify for Tokyo. So it's not only after my accident I had this resilience. It's something yeah, during my whole rowing, I had a lot of times where maybe if I had stopped, everybody was saying, "Oh yeah, I can understand." But every time when I was beaten down, I stood up and thought, "Okay, just tomorrow the sun is going coming up again. Okay,
Yeah,
tomorrow is a new day." And I think that in the mind really helped the last couple of years. That
yeah,
if you have a setback, well, accept and adapt. Just wake up and go again. And I think that mental part, losing in Varese, okay, was it a good race? Yes, it was a good race. We did our best. We did the plan, but we are not fit. We were just not fit enough to compete with the British 1 or Britain 2.
Yeah.
Um, but the next day we got on holiday for a week. And nobody believed that the Dutch were on holiday after World
No,
Cup 1.
I know.
But I have the pictures. I had the Aperol Spritz. We went on holiday for a week. And that's something you learn. When you were beaten, you stand up and do what the plan is. And the plan after World Cup 1 was having a week of holiday because it was a really tough time after the week of holiday.
Yeah. Um, how does it work with you and Rohir? Because you're both like rowers,
Yeah, we
and
love rowing.
you love rowing, and I know you love cycling as well,
Yeah.
or sport. So, um, I'm guessing you must help each other.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people say, don't you get tired talking about rowing all the time? But I'm also teaching, so sometimes we talk a little bit about other subjects.
Yeah.
But it's not only rowing; it's also behavior of people, or
Mm,
I don't know. It's more than only a rowing stroke,
mm,
and we both love the sport. It's also the reason why I woke up this morning and got for a row with my hometown crew. I don't have to do it, but I like to do it. So with the two of us, it just we do what we love and give each other the freedom of doing what you think you would like to do. Which also this year we did not see each other a lot of the 6 months. I was 4 months in how do you say, in other countries.
yeah.
And Rogier was coaching Nikki and Guillaume in the pair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
knew we were a lot of time not at
Apart.
the same place. He was in Sierra Nevada, Spain. Then I was home. Then he got back. And then I went back to Varese, or he was at the Europeans. But if you both do what you like most, well, yeah, then you don't see each other that much. But it's okay. You're happy. And I think that's really important in our marriage, that you do what you like. And well, I hope we are more together this year.
Yeah.
But I always knew that he did what he liked most, and then I was like, oh, I do what I like most too. So
Yeah. And we were talking just before we went on air about you as a coach and working with Istok Chop's daughter, Ruby.
yeah, yeah, we're the daughter of Chop is rowing at my hometown club. A really Slovenian girl. Yeah, stubborn but really
Yeah.
hardworking. And yeah, I applied for the job because it's my hometown club and they were searching for somebody. And I think I can help the women's, yeah, rowing to a higher level with rowing with them. So not only coaching, but also let them feel how is a rowing stroke. You can say you have to start light in the front and then push the
Yeah.
legs, but yeah, then they do nothing in the front and don't put their blade in the water. Uh, so when I row with them, yeah, I can let them feel like, yeah, put the blade in. And I thought, okay, I don't know what I want to do after Paris, but I'm really fit. I can row
Yeah.
really, really well. Yeah, let's help other people become good too. And so that was the reason why I applied.
Yeah. So I know also you have some ideas about what you might do in the next year or two.
Yeah, so 4 years is too far. I'm 36, and well, the body is also. I spend a lot of time having a good a good back. My neck needs some attention too, because of the pin, so don't get too stiff. Um, and I really think my recovery is still good compared to when I was
Mm.
younger. And I did some PBs last year, so
Oh
with
wow.
36, you're still. Uh, uh, I
What?
could still manage to do PBs on the RP3 and on the water and on the weightlifting, with weightlifting.
Hmm.
But I know I'm on this um, little rope walking to be really, really good. I have to pay a lot of attention doing every day 30 minutes, some exercises to not get injured. And I think walking this thin line, it's maybe I can do 2 more years. Then the World
Hmm.
Championships are in Amsterdam. So it's a hometown event.
Oh, in 20, that's where they are in 26.
Yeah. Uh, so that was a little bit like my dream. Like, uh, if I want to stop, well, maybe
Yeah,
2026, but I'm not sure yet. I also like the coaching and doing the data part,
analysis.
data analysis. I really like it. I already did. So, yeah, those are the two options. Those two ways for the upcoming years.
Yeah. Can I talk to you about women's rowing? Because I think it's also with the men. One of the problems is the eight does not have a lot of entries. And this happened in the men's eight this year as well. And also with the women's eight. And I know you guys doubled up. You
Yeah,
got two silvers in the worlds in
22.
2022, and you chose not to double up
No, it was not
last.
a it was you. It was not chosen. It was world rowing did not allow to double up.
Oh, do you mean in terms of the schedule?
Yeah, it's like if you have been seeing the schedule at the Olympics, the race of the rehearsal of the eight
Yeah,
was an hour and a half before the A finals of the four.
well, that's crazy.
So the Romanians did start the eight and the four, but if they did not go through directly in the eight, they had their
The
their
repechage.
rep, the repecharge, uh, the morning of their A final, which I thought is a really big gamble. But the Romanian girls are really good, so maybe it's a
Mm,
little bit less a gamble. But for us, it was like we don't like gambling. We want to win rather one gold than two silver, which we did
yeah,
in Belgrade, or sorry, which we did in Recife. But I think the schedule now is a lot of times it's too close to the main event.
yeah.
So if the eight is after the main event, everybody wants to
Would
join.
double up.
Yeah, I think every country, England, Romanian already did it, but also the USA, everybody wants to double up. But now it's a gamble, and you don't gamble at the Olympics.
Yeah, that's interesting because I did slalom enter kayak cross, and what you're saying is that if the women's eight and the men's eight was separate after the fours, and
Yeah,
it would,
after the
yeah,
pairs. Yeah, I think you can create a much more fun event in the eight if you put down the double, the pair, and the four, or two fours, or a single, or whatever. Just the eight best people in the eight after their main event. You have a really cool event,
mm,
and you have the best eight people in the eight instead of countries who choose. Do we have a best eight and then the rest, or first
mm,
small numbers and then the eight? I think the level of the eight will rise a lot if you put
mm,
eight good people in it. Because if you have eight really, really good people, you can go for the eight, but then you only have one medal. And if you have eight really good people, you can make two twos and a four, or a single, a two,
yeah,
a four. So, and then you have three medals, right?
yeah.
So I really don't understand why the eight is still in this schedule. Just put it in the end and say if you qualified smaller boats, well, then you are allowed to make an
To
eight.
make an eight, yeah,
And
that's great.
then you
Um,
have also less athletes. So you have this problem of the Olympics, which where they want to skip numbers. Or yeah, it's not. Yeah, you don't have to.
so I don't know if you have heard, but I have heard that there are some thoughts of creating a mixed eight event, possibly for Los Angeles. I don't know. Is that something you've heard and maybe
No, I
have?
didn't hear, but I also think it's like, don't. It's just, yeah,
Okay.
also with the swimming, with the mixed relay, just don't mix that. Uh, just take just women and men. It's just separated. It's a fair competition. Um, and I also think in the boat you have a lot of problems with your rigging, but that's something, well, you can take care of. But I don't think uh, will be really good for who. For who is this a good idea?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Um, and what do you know about how many of the women in the Dutch Olympic team might think of rowing again next year?
So most of the time after the Olympic, 40% of the team, just the whole Dutch rowing team, quits.
Yeah,
So these numbers are like consistent in the last couple of cycli, like London, Rio, and Tokyo.
yeah,
So I think it will be probably the same. That
yeah,
around 60% will stay and 40% will say goodbye.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not something we talked about.
Because there was a Dutch women's eight. I saw them come over to Britain to race Cambridge, I think, before the boat race.
Yeah.
And did they race the Europeans? I think they did.
No, I didn't. No, they were in the four and in the quad.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I thought maybe somebody would enter them in the Olympic qualifying regatta, but that was not happen. So how good are the next people coming through for the Netherlands?
I honestly have to say, I think if they had been to the Olympic qualification, they qualified. They are good.
Uh,
But
yeah.
they did not win a medal at the Olympics. And that was the reason I believe that they were not allowed to go. Because if you go to the Olympics, you go for a medal. But I really think there are some good people in the eight. Uh, so they are training their ass off now, where we
Yeah.
have holiday, and they have trials on January. So if we start the trials, I think some people will be there on top or
Yeah.
in the top. I don't know, 5 or 6. There are some good new young people. So I'm not really worried about the next generation.
And obviously, Ilko Meerhorst has had a huge influence
Yeah.
on the Dutch results and whatever. I mean, maybe you can explain just a bit about why that is.
So he
And
made a lot of changes, and one of them was combining men and women, which was really nice to be just one team and not anymore just two teams who are fighting each other. Not really the team members, but most of the time the staff was not really well sent love to each other, and uh, and also, when we are in the four, we always race with Melvin and Steph.
yeah,
So you really want to beat each other, but also when Steph got sick for once, we were like, oh shit, so can we change the training? Or you are really uh, feeling with each other, making a team. So um, a single man, Simon, is always with the pair.
yeah,
Two men are always with the four, and women's eight is almost the same speed as a men's four.
yeah,
So you have a lot more partners to race with during training,
yeah, yeah,
and that makes the training more, yeah, better and more efficient. Because you really want to win. I really, when we beat it Steph and Melvin once, only once,
yeah,
at 1,000. Now, well, we were like,
yeah,
yeah, we were celebrating, and but we also were like, oh, are you okay? But and if you race another four, women's four, you are more scared of your own place, or it's not really a
Mm,
good environment. You get scared, or and now it's just with the men. Yeah, I don't have to be scared of Melvin. I can make fun of him, and if he didn't like it, he can say it, and if he can like it, he can make fun of me too. So there's a much the environment really changed with Ilko, that we are one team,
mm,
and with all those scientists and their data, I think it really helped. For me, as I already told, that have a big engine, I have to train a lot. And Hermijntje, well, she is like crazy strong,
mm.
but so she can emphasize a little bit more weightlifting or rest afternoon, and uh, with Yoshi we didn't have individual schedules, and now everybody has an individual schedule. Caroline is doing totally something different sometimes because she has, I don't know, multiple races or
Yeah,
a study with some exams. And so it's much more with this system that they want to make you better as a person. Uh, and yeah, for me, that was something, yeah, I would wanted to hear. I was 32 when Ilko became head coach. And I was like, yeah, 32, don't know. Can I become better? No, hell yeah.
yeah.
I did a 10-second PB. So,
Wow.
well, I think there are a lot of changes with him, and being in the single, training every day in the single,
Mm,
and starting your main event really late in the season. So every training you do is really important. Instead, if you start in November in your main event, well, if you have a bad day, yeah, or a
yeah,
bad week. But if you start in April with the four, or in March, then it's a little bit more important to have good trainings and have an
yeah, yeah,
idea where you want to go and what you have to improve.
yeah,
So your focus is much more towards good rowing, and have a holiday during season. It's insane. It's like, but it really worked because you got a lot of new energy,
mm,
ideas, things you think you can improve. So when I'm on holiday, I enjoy the holiday, but I'm also thinking, okay, what can I improve a little bit more? And you get
yeah,
more creative thinking about rowing or not.
yeah,
That Bente Boonstra, she really wants to zone out and do not think about rowing. And for me, I just got creative in holiday, um, reading books, reading Kleshnev, I don't know, something, rowing
yeah,
faster. Uh, and I've, oh, okay, and get some ideas, and then come back and say, okay, let's do
yeah,
360 with the
yeah,
blade.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I know, you've talked about in the medium term, 2 years ahead. Um, what sense do you have of beyond that? So towards your forties.
Well, I'm still exploring what I do, like data analysis a lot, but I don't know if it's only rowing or speed skating or cycling.
Ah,
So I'm just have some talks with other big, how do you say, names,
yeah,
people, and just see wherever it goes.
yeah,
Yeah, but in the end, I love rowing the most, so I will be always connected with rowing.
yeah.
Uh, Even when I'm, how old are you? Well,
67.
yeah, 67. Well, yeah, I think, yeah, I really love rowing.
Yeah. And are you allowed to say where you keep your medal? You might not want to say.
Oh, I want to say it's somewhere on the ground underneath the table. Yeah, sometimes I have these events like yesterday where I had to show the medal and inspire people
Yeah.
uh, who had some setbacks with public transport, and I had to cheer them up, which it really worked.
Ah,
And then I take the medal with me and show them the medal, and they can make pictures of it. And holding it. If I can inspire some people that we all have setbacks, then well,
Yeah,
if the medal helps, yeah. So it's
yeah,
somewhere in the house, sometimes in my pocket.
yeah, yeah. Marloes, we've been talking for well over an hour now. I have to say your English is fantastic.
No,
It,
they they made a lot of fun of me when I'm talking English. So most of the time, I'm a little bit embarrassed.
it is amazing. I have to say it is fantastic. And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing so much of your story. It's been incredible to listen to. And we'll end the live part of this interview now. So thank you
Okay.
so much, Marloes.
Thanks.
Okay, so I think